Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while, but I am here. Just kind of want to give you some updates on some sewing and some things that I've been doing in my personal life. So I do apologize that it's been probably a month since I've been on here, and honestly guys, I kind of lost my sojo a little bit. I think in my last video I had some sewing plans I shared. I was going to finish out a McCall's pattern, work on some zippers for my Sew It Academy course. So I can work on my sloper for my skirt. And honestly, the last 3 to 4 weeks, I really didn't do a lot of that at all. I did very little of that. As a matter of fact, I just finished the McCall's pattern like a week ago. And that McCall's pattern was M7737. This pattern was part of my Make 9, or is part of my Make 9. I was going to be doing this for my youngest daughter, and I end up doing it for my oldest daughter, and I'll tell you why in just a second. So, although I didn't have much happening in the world of sewing, I just kind of took some time away from sewing, just because I felt like this strong pull or urge to really like get myself back into my Bible study and back into my daily devotions and back into reading my books. And that's what I've really been doing for the last 4 weeks or so. So, and I also went on a retreat with my friends about a week ago. I did a retreat, which was really, really nice, in the Carolinas. We had been going on this retreat for the last 4 years, I think, maybe even 5 years. Not the pandemic years, but a couple years before the pandemic, we started going on this retreat. So we're back at that again, going on our retreat every year in the Carolinas. It's a really nice retreat. But before that, I was really, really trying to get back into my Bible study, my reading of the scriptures daily, my studying with intent, and just really, bringing myself back to communing with the Lord and just, really being involved in that. So I mentioned I was reading a couple of books. So one book I've been reading is it's a book called Relentless, and it's by John Bevere. It's a really, really good book. I'm still getting through it. I'm not finished it yet, but it really just talks about how to be relentless in life and just pursuing things and being adamant about all areas of your life. And it's been really, really great. I've been reading this book, and I've also been reading a book called The Discerner. It's by James Goll. I've been reading this as well. Talking about, hearing and confirming the word of God in your life, and just making sure that as believers, we understand what it means to discern the voice of God and how to discern him using your various senses. So it's been really, really good. I've been reading both these books, still getting through them together, but that's what I've been doing, and I have been really blessed by both of these readings. I will continue with until I'm done. So that's where I've been in terms of just like, what's happening, why am I so quiet? Just a time to just take inventory and just, reflect on life and just where I am in my life and where I am with different things, and just making sure that I am always in the will of God and things that I do and things I'm pursuing. So because of that, I really took a back seat, or my sewing took a back seat for a little bit. I'm still going to be reading, still going to be doing my devotions every day like I do. But I think too, just with all that's been happening, just with spring break with the kids, and my husband was on travel, I was on travel. It's just been a really, really busy like last month or so for my family. So just trying to get back into it and find that balance and everything. But all is well. I am around, and I am going to go right ahead and do as I promised in my very last video, was to show you guys or give you guys a pattern review of this McCall's pattern. So I was extremely, extremely excited to do this pattern. I thought it's a learn to sew. very simple pattern. Learn to sew from McCall's, part of my Make 9 for the year. While it was a very simple pattern or simple dress to make, I did view D. When I did this, I kind of started to feel like, I don't know how to rate this. I mean, I don't think that it was the pattern itself. I think it was really the fabric choice I used to make this pattern. So a couple things. When I bought the pattern initially, I bought this pattern with the intent in using it for my youngest daughter, who is 7 years old. And I got the pattern that said 7, 8, 10, 12, 14, thinking I could use it for both my girls. When I opened the pattern up, I realized the measurements for this pattern was not for my youngest daughter. They were way too big. The 7 was way too big of a pattern for her. So I went ahead and made it for my oldest daughter instead. I did want to do it again for my youngest daughter, so I did go ahead and purchase the proper pattern size off of Etsy. Was it Etsy? Yeah, off of Etsy. But I'm not sure that I'm going to do this again so soon. I have to think about it some. But this was an easy pattern to put together, honestly. I just think because for me, the fabric choice, I think, was a little bit off. It's calling for moderate stretch knits, lightweight knits, and cotton knits. So I found a nice pink knit off of Joann Fabrics, and it was from the Joann Pop Kids collection. They have really nice prints, vibrant prints for kids. Makes it really easy and fun for kids to go with you and kind of pick out their own, fabric choices for projects and things like that. So, but it was 98% cotton and only 2% spandex. So, and I felt like once I started to sew it, it was really thick. It was thicker than what I thought it should have been, which I think probably complicated me trying to make it overall. Let me pull it out real quick and I can show you guys exactly what it was. So I'm gonna try not to unfold it completely because I want to use it again. I kind of put everything away, but it's this pretty sparkly pink. Just a pink with silver sparkles on it. So I thought this was lightweight enough, but I think it should have been a little bit lighter in weight, because when I tried to sew it, it felt stiff. It didn't feel as flowy as I think it should have been based off what these pictures look like. It was a little stiff. So I did make it though, and I did finish it off, and I'll show you some pictures shortly. But so the fabric choice, I think the next time I do this, it'll probably be a little bit lighter, more lightweight generally. It did only call for one pattern piece, so that was a plus. One pattern piece, and you cut it twice. You have your front and your back. Pretty much you sew the shoulder seams and the side seams, do your arm's eye hem and your hem at the bottom of your skirt, and you're pretty much done. Notions only needed thread and a ballpoint needle. Pretty straightforward. So what got complicated for me, especially what I underestimated with this pattern. So you see this handkerchief hem here? I actually thought that this handkerchief hem was going to place nicely on my sewing table, and it did not. It was very wide. It was very wide. It hung off the sides of my table, and I did not have the decent floor space to put it on the floor to cut it properly. So I improvised. I did some shifting of the fabric a little bit. I know it's a big no-no when you're trying to cut, but I had to shift it quite a bit to make sure that I got both of the sides of this dress on my table. So that was one thing that kind of frustrated me with this. I underestimated the size of the handkerchief hem, And then, oh, the arm's eye and the serging. So I did do some serging with this, and give me 1 second. I'll show you what the finished product looks like in a second. 1 minute. All right, had to go and get the dress from her bedroom. So I did some serging on it, and I don't like how my serging turned out. I think the next time I might end up serging both pieces individually and not serge them together, because I did not like how the serging turned out on here. On this side is actually hanging off a little bit. So when I turn this inside out like this, you can kind of see where it's a little off with this piece here. So I didn't like that. I need to figure out how to make my serging a little better with the shoulder seams. The arm's eye hole, I think that turned out pretty okay. You know, it wasn't perfect, but try to show you guys. So that's what the arm's eye looks like. It's not as flat as I wanted it to be. But again, for my first dress, my first knit dress, or second knit dress, I guess, I think it turned out okay, I guess. And this is the other side. It's just not as clean as I would have wanted it to be. And I did not like how this part turned out. This is the side seam where I serged them together. So again, I think the next time I do this, I will probably serge each of the raw edges individually all the way around, and then sew them together. So that way I have a flat seam allowance on the inside, and not this seam allowance is going to kind of stick up a little bit. And then the handkerchief hem, as I was telling you guys about, is very, very wide. I did not like how this turned out. I mean, it's just not, I don't like that. And this side turned out a little better, but if you notice that line, the seam is not aligned with this corner here, and that's how it really should be. The seam should be aligned with the corner. So that didn't turn out exactly how I wanted it to. But all in all, I mean, the dress, I think, fits her great. I'll show you some pictures of her in it in a little bit. But yeah, this is the finished product. So I think what she'll do is she'll probably wear this, and if she wears it, she'll wear like a denim jacket over top of it. It's spring, so we have those cool evenings and sometimes cooler days, but you know, this is it. So I think if I do it again, I will probably just square off the bottom hem and not do handkerchief. I like the pattern because it's very simple, but I just think, again, that the fabric choice is probably a little too thick for what I should have had, and doing a little better on my serging of my my seams could be a little better. But yeah, so I'm trying to think, is there anything else I can tell you about this make? I think, like I said, it's a very easy make. If you're a beginner sewist, I think you can definitely pull this off. Just consider finishing off your raw edges before you sew them together, just to have that clean look. And make sure you have lots and lots of space on your table when you cut your pattern to lay this part flat, that the hem flat on your table. That may have been one of the reasons why when I sewed it, you know, this part didn't line up properly, because it was hanging off the table to start with, and it just wasn't a clean cut as it should have been. So, but yeah, I will probably do it again. For my youngest daughter, a different style, the straight hem. So as opposed to, it might look something like this the next time I do it. No cold shoulder, just the basic shoulder, strapless, or sleeveless rather, and then just do a straight hem across. That might turn out a little better. And one thing I forgot to do, I actually forgot to, I always trace my patterns because I might want to use them again someday, and I don't want to have to keep purchasing the same pattern over and over again. But I forgot to iron my pattern piece before I traced it. Yeah, I should have ironed it before I traced it, and I did not do that. I don't think it had a huge ramification on the make itself, but that's just one thing I should have done. I just didn't do. I tried to practice ironing out my pattern pieces before I traced them off, and I had not done that. So again, all in all, I think this was a good project. Oh, one more thing I did not think about when I made this is when she wears this dress, part I really don't like so much. You'll notice that I have the black and white serger thread. So when she wears this, depending on how the wind might blow or how she sits, you'll probably see this black or white serger thread on her dress. So not my favorite look, but lesson learned. Change my serger thread to something neutral to match the garment itself, or consider not serging and just using like a different method to clean up the raw edges, like a pinking shears, or there are other methods you can use to clean up your raw edges other than just serging. So that's something else I'll have to consider long and hard whenever I make something where you might actually see these seams inside the garment. So all in all, easy. I do recommend it for folks who want to get into sewing and want to give this a try. It's very simple. 2 pattern pieces, one really. Just be mindful of the serging, the matching thread, the space you'll need again for your handkerchief hem if you decide to do the handkerchief view. And that's that. So I will now show you some pictures of my daughter wearing her dress. Now, she did not wear it out yet. I'll let her decide if she wants to wear it out or not, or just around the house. I'll let her decide that for herself. But I will show you some pictures of her modeling the dress, and she did not want me to show her face, so you will not see her face in the picture. You'll just see her wearing the dress in different poses as a finished look. All right, so there you have it. That is my pattern review on McCall's 7737. Very, very beginner-friendly pattern. Just remember to consider your fabric choice for sure, your space on your cutting table to cut, and how you want to finish off your raw edges. That way they are nice and clean on the inside and you are good to go. So go ahead and grab this pattern. You can find it in your local Joann's or online. Definitely do that. So thank you for watching this video, and if you want to continue watching and following me on my sewing journey and the things I'm doing, feel free to like this video and definitely do a subscribe to my videos so that you'll always know when I'm posting new content. When I do, you will get that nice notification and you can go ahead and watch my content. So until next time, God bless.